to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we are introducing the brand new Fab Flowers and its coordinating dies. This is our take on the stamp layering trend. It's fun and simple and super cute, so let's check it out. This set has a bunch of different styles of flowers. So there's two sizes of that style. Then we have this big, beautiful blossom and a rose too. We also have this great little butterfly. And now it's time to add our detail. So you can see I'm twisting it around until I get it in the perfect place. Then I'm going to stamp it in my peacock ink, and the first layer was in merman ink, and layer that right on top. And I just love the little detail. It's funky and fun and super cute. And so here we've got this great rose and the wonderful little butterfly, and then the detail for the center of the butterfly. Now here are all the leaves included in this set. So we have the large and small of that same style, then we have a single leaf, and then we have some long stems that both bend in the two different directions. And then we have this cute little branch, which is my favorite. Now I'm going to add my second step here of adding the little detail to the leaves, and I just love that look. I think it's gorgeous. And then we have this great sentiment in the set. So we have with hugs, and then we've got love, and then we've got the ampersand. So you can do with hugs and love, or with love or hugs, and mix and match them all. And now here I'm just going to be playing around with more colors. So this is guava and lobster, and then sunflower and carrot. Whenever I use fresh lavender with sugar plum, I always double stamp it. So here you're going to see I'm going to stamp it once, and then stamp right over again to create a darker color that perfectly coordinates with my sugar plum. So I'm going to double stamp that lavender, and then now I'm going to go over with the detail and sugar plum, and I just love how that looks. I'm going to stamp out a few more leaves here. We've got the first ones in freshly cut grass, and then in celery stick, and then there is with that new peachy keen with some guava on top. Now here I wanted to show you a little chart that I made. So what I did was I stamped out a base color and then went on top of it with all of my other colors to see how they would look. So I really suggest you doing this with your ink. So whatever inks you have, stamp out your lightest pink and then do all the darker ones over it. Then go to your medium pink and then go to the darker ones over that. And create a chart so you can see what inks look good together, and then also what combinations might look good for whatever project you're working on too. I reference these charts every single time I use this stamp set. They're so helpful. Now here are the coordinating dies for the set. You can bend them apart at the tabs or use your wire snips to separate them. I'm going to line them up with the flowers here that I have, hold them in place with some low tack tape, run them through my die cut machine, and have these beautifully cut flowers. I just love how they look. Oh, they're so cute. Now here I'm going to hold my butterfly in place with some tape just so that it doesn't move, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp that center in it. And I find that easier to do than stamping the center before die cutting because it's kind of hard to get it perfect. Now here I went ahead and created a score line in the middle of the butterfly, and I'm going to bend that butterfly in half, and you can see that you can get a totally different look with it, which is really awesome. And then here is how you can mix and match the different stems. You can put it right up to the flower or layer it underneath. You can use all of the different sizes, and then you can layer those leaves on top too, and you can really create a gorgeous garden with these. They're so fun to mix and match, and to put those little butterflies on it too is just so cute. And so here you can see how you can layer the smaller leaves and the single leaf to create a really fun look and just all sorts of endless possibilities. Now here I'm going to be using How You Bean to create a jar for this set, and we size these sets to work together on purpose, so they look really cool together. So here I'm using the shaker add-on die, and I've cut my frame and then my base, and I've also cut my acetate piece. And now I'm going to be cutting my foam piece. So I am trimming up some fun foam here. That's just that dollar store fun foam stuff. And I'm going to layer some Stick It on it. And Stick It is a very thin sheet of adhesive. So I am going to cut 2 squares of the adhesive that are going to layer on to my piece. And I'm going to peel off one of the backings and then layer that sticky piece right on top of the foam. And by doing this, I'm creating my own custom foam sticker. So I'm going to layer that piece on, and then I'm going to repeat the same thing with the other side. And now I've got Stick It on either side, creating a sticker that's going to make my shaker. So I ran that through my die cut machine with my frame die from the shaker add-on, and now I've got a foam frame. So here I've got my base, then my foam frame, then my acetate, and then my decorative frame for on top. Now because I want this to look like a jar filled with water with flowers in it, I am using my BG 10, 11, and BG 70 markers to create some water in the jar, and I'm stopping it about 3/4 of the way up the jar. I'm going to color the frame and then color the base to match it so that it looks seamless when we layer the two on top of each other. So I'm just coloring right on top, really blending all of those markers, and you'll see when you layer the two, it looks really great and it looks completely continuous. Now I'm going to peel this little liner tape off one side, and I'm going to be able to stick that foam to my base. Now I'm going to use my EK Success powder tool to run it all along the inside edges to make sure that it's not sticky. So I'm touching it to make sure all the stickiness is gone, and then now I'm ready to add my sequins. So I'm using some Caribbean Dream sequins here because it really does look like water. I think they're just so pretty. And then I'm going to peel off that last backing to expose the adhesive, and I can attach my acetate right on top, and my shaker is starting to form. So you can see how cool that's looking already. Now I'm going to add a bunch of tape to the top lid of the jar there on the back, and I'm going to layer my stems inside the jar. So because I've got that adhesive there, I can layer right on the back of the jar, and then I can trim off all of those ends. So you can see now we're just seeing the little stems through the jar. I am adding some strong score tape there to the back of my jar, and now I can layer that on top to finish the shaker portion of this card. Now here I've got a banner from Bannertastic, and I'm going to use Happy Happy Happy, and I'm going to put some acetate on top of that and then curve my stamp to match the banner. The acetate is going to hold that curve in place. I'm going to pick it up with my block, and then I can stamp it, and that's much easier than trying to curve it directly on the block. I'm going to stamp that in some black licorice ink, and now I can start to fill my jar with flowers. So I'm going to layer a bunch of different flowers stamped in a bunch of different colors. I use my chart to help me figure out what colors I think would look best, and I'm just going to layer them until this jar is nice and full and colorful, and I'll just keep adding things until I think it looks perfect. And so it's really fun to create your own custom little flower garden here. So I'm going to layer all of those little green grasses and a little peachy keen flower there at the end, one more little leaf, and this is looking really great. Now I want this card, I want the shaker to be the card base. So I'm going to score a piece of cardstock in half here and fold it. And then I'm going to take my die and I'm going to line it up so that the top portion of my die is outside the paper so that it won't cut the paper all the way through. And by doing this, I've actually created a jar-shaped little note card. So all I need to do is add a bunch of adhesive to this card, and I can attach it to the back of my shaker, and now my entire flower-filled shaker is its card too. So I just think that's so cool. Now I'm going to take that Bannertastic banner and layer that right on top, and then I'll take the Happy from the Happy 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 set that I die cut and layer that on top too. Now to finish off the back, I'm just trimming a little white piece here, and I'm going to adhere that to the back just to make sure that those flowers are going to really hold in place. And this card is done, and it's so cool. I love that it's a shaker, which is awesome. And I love that I was able to combine 4 different stamp sets with Fab Flowers, How You Bean, Happy Happy Happy, and Bannertastic, which is so fun. Next up, I am stamping using the new Minty Fresh ink, which is one of my favorite of the new colors, and I'm stamping a bunch of the leaves. And then here, I'm going to take the Peachy Keen ink, and I'm going to stamp it once and then stamp it again. And the color that I'm looking for is that second generation of the stamping. So I'll stamp it once and then stamp it again for this beautiful light peachy ink. Now for my detail, I'm going to stamp that in ballet slippers on top, and I just think it looks absolutely gorgeous. Now to add a little extra detail to these solid stamps, I'm using a coordinating marker here, which is R21, to add a little bit of detail. So I'm just kind of taking my marker and flicking it to put nice little light lines in. And you can see it's really subtle, but it really adds a lot to these images. And now I'm going to repeat the same idea with my rose. Now this card is a recreation of a card by Elena that is so stunning and so beautiful, and I loved all of the details she added, especially this extra little detail with the marker on the flowers. I really just think it makes them so gorgeous, and it's really fun to do too. Now next up, you'll see that I wasn't sure how to get the light purple I wanted, so I stamped out all of my purples, first generation and second generation, and then I compared it to my other flowers I already stamped, and I decided that the second generation of the fresh lavender was the perfect light purple. And this is such a great way to get more out of your inks. Now I'm stamping the detail also in fresh lavender, but with the very first stamping. And then here I'm going to be adding some extra detail, this time with 2 markers. So I'm going to start with my V17, adding all of that detail, and then blend it out into that purple with the V15. And it gives it even more dimension that we did on the pink flowers. So this is really fun to do, and I love that we're getting 2 colors out of 1 ink pad. That's so awesome. So I've gone ahead and die cut all of these different images, and we're going to start layering those. But first we're going to work with stripy backdrop, and I'm going to die cut it from some white cardstock. And then I'm going to have my watercolor wishes paper here show through. And so I'm trying to figure out the perfect place of this paper that I like. And so I'm going to line it up, find the perfect placement, and then trim that down to 5.5 by 4.25. Now Elena added some little sprinkles and sprays to her card. So I am taking some hickory smoke ink and then spraying it about 5 times with my little mister, and then I'm flicking the ink off with my paintbrush off the acrylic block to create little sprinkles and splatters on this card. And I think it looks really, really cool and adds a little extra something. Then I'm going to layer that stripy backdrop on top, and you'll see how cool that is. Now here is a fancy scalloped rectangle and a little dotted rectangle, and I'm stamping Wedding Day, which actually comes from Bicycle Built for Two, and I'm going to layer that white cardstock onto the narwhal cardstock. Now here I am going to be layering all of my flowers to create this design. I love those pops of mint with the pink and purple. This color scheme is just so pretty. And I'll keep layering these until I kind of create this perfect design that that little Wedding Day sentiment can kind of peek out from. And I love how elegant this is looking. I love that you can take a super cute stamp set and make it elegant based on the colors you use and kind of how you layer everything. And that's what's so awesome about Elena. She creates these cool designs and they're just so beautiful. And here is a close-up of that cool extra element we added with the Copic markers. And I love how beautiful this is, and it's great for a wedding card. I'm so glad that I have one for weddings coming up. And now here is a look at 2 totally different looks with the same stamp set, and then some designs from our design team. I love the rainbow butterflies by Shari. Here this card is gorgeous by Yanea. I love the flowers peeking out from the circle. Elise created an awesome scene. I think this is so gorgeous and fun. Nicole created an entire bouquet of flowers, which I think is really cool. And I love the pink and red and green color scheme by Letitia. This is really cool with the splatter technique that Audrey did. I think it looks amazing. Here is another card using the How You Bean jar. These just go so perfect in that jar. And then here is a great birthday card. I love those layered flowers behind the Bannertastic banner. And I love the flowers with the butterfly flying off by Lynette. And then this scallop box card pop-up is so cool by Melissa. I love this garden. It just looks so pretty. They're so happy and fun. They're just happy lawn fawn flowers. So I cannot wait to see what you guys do with this set. So you have to make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today and have an absolutely amazing day. Bye.